They say performance has an expiration date, but what if they're wrong? No matter where you start, the goal's the same: to be better, stronger, wiser, bolder. We're here for the relentless, those that don't back down, don't compromise, and don't quit. This is training for Masters athletes by Masters athletes, with a community that holds you steady. So say goodbye to random workouts, because whether you're stepping into following a program for the first time or stepping onto the podium, your journey starts here.
All right, team. Welcome to the Boulder Athlete Podcast. I'm Josh, and I am joined. This is a special episode. Very special indeed. Could be totally a terrible idea, but I think this could be pretty fun. I'm joined by Justin Brewer, Paul Delanoy, Aaron Houchin, all of whom have been on the podcast before, all of whom I consider friends. And you guys are all fathers and husbands and games athletes and just good dudes all around. I thought it'd be cool to get us all together and just chat a little bit. We've got a few topics we can kick off, but yeah, we'll take this thing wherever it takes us. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm counting on you guys to be really funny and charming and super charismatic and all the things here. You guys are going to have to carry this.
So, Josh, behind you, I see the game jersey set up behind you. Did you get that made? The wife get that made?
No, I just got a $50 case on Amazon and just assembled that. Yeah, just put it together and it's like, I got to hang this sucker somewhere.
I like it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
That's a great business idea. Come to the games. If you don't qualify, start up a new business. Like, hey, I'm going to put these frames together for everyone. $100?
I mean, but they're pretty slick. It takes like 5 minutes to put it together once you've got the goods. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Anyways, I dig it. I see that bike behind you if we're calling out backgrounds. When was the last time you got on that thing, Houchin?
And about a week before the games is the last time I was on it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get on it soon enough. If I wreck on that, I might end bad.
Yeah.
How you feeling, Aaron? How you feeling?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah?
Got some good reports from the surgeon. So I'm about a month or two away from getting some pretty good clearance to kind of mess around and start doing some more stuff. I probably
Show
won't be
us
back.
your hardware there, buddy.
Yeah. Got the little robotic arm here that keeps my arm from making
that thing.
bending. Yeah. It's kind of part of me now. I'm just used to wearing it and having it everywhere. But yeah, let's see. I mean, I'm like 2.5 months post-op right now. So we're looking at another 2 to 4 months and we're back on track. And then the goal is
what happened? What happened exactly? I didn't see you. I didn't see you post games. Like you kind of bolted out of there. I didn't get a chance to talk to you. What happened?
Yeah. So, we're doing a clean and jerk. I hit the first one at 275, no problem. Got my head straight. I put 295 on there, which is about 92%. Squat clean was fine. Re-racked the bar and I went to jerk it and my arm, as soon as I got to here, my tricep just exploded. Like it sounded like a gun went off and that was it. It was like, boom, that was it. And then it was like, I reached back there and it was gone. I was like, all right, well, that's it. I'm done. So I walked away I walked backstage and then they were all telling me, you can't leave. Where are you going? And I'm like, I'm done. So then the medics came out there and talked to me and stuff. And then, my kids were crying and my wife was worried and like seeing the kids cry was probably the worst thing I've ever experienced. Like it was worse than the injury because they know they had seen me in the garage working out. They see me running outside. They see me doing all the stuff to get to the games, all the, going to bed super early, all these things. And they've been helping me a lot, so. But yeah, the tricep, the tricep and the distal end separated from the elbow completely.
So just heads up for the listeners, we're talking about the games this past summer. Aaron, who qualified for the games, obviously sacrificed a ton to get there. We're in event 2. The run was event 1 and event 2 is a clean and jerk, and then had this catastrophic injury in event 2. And yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, golly, Aaron, you and I have been talking for, I don't know how long, how many years and chasing this dream. It was, a dream for both of us. And I know how bad you wanted it and I know how hard you work. And I know personally how proud I was of you for getting there and how excited I was to be there with you. And, on the run, we're all just scattered everywhere. I don't know where you're at. You don't know where I'm at. It's not really the event to share the experience with. On the floor in event 2 was our first kind of opportunity. And Man, the moment I heard about your injury, that was pretty deflating, and I can only imagine how you felt in that moment. That's pretty heavy.
The community is crazy though, because like I was trying not to make a scene about it. Like I wasn't like trying to go around and get sympathy from people, but like I had like a line of people that were like checking on me. I never even knew these people. I mean, like just people from other countries, males, females, people follow me on IG. Like it was really cool. Also, it was like heartbreaking because every time somebody comes up and talks to you, it's just a reminder of it. So I kind of left the games a little early after that. I couldn't take it anymore, you know. But
Yeah, I don't
too
blame
bad.
you on
That's
that one.
Yeah. So speaking of, I mean, I'm sure we'll circle back to this injury because I want to talk a little bit about like off season and kind of where everybody's at, how you're feeling, what your focus areas are, that kind of a thing. But this concept of like chasing the games, I know is true for all of us, and we all have a little bit different experience and history with it. Paul, I know you'd been to the games before. I think you were on a team. Remind me what year you went on a team?
2014. 2014.
And then your first year back as an individual was in 2024. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because that was my first year, and I remember you commented on it in the somewhere along the
Yeah.
the weekend. I remember overhearing that. Justin, you and I, we got to train together a whole bunch. Your first year was this past year. You finished 10th, which was like insane. You won the first event. You got to tell me how that happened. You and I have been training together like the whole year. I didn't even know you could run. Like, I don't even know where that came from. And then I'm in the ice bath, nearly in cardiac arrest, and somebody comes up to me and says, Justin won the run event.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
So crazy.
Are you a runner or what?
I mean, I ran for a few years before I started getting into CrossFit, kind of did some half marathons, couple full marathons. And so, I mean, I put in the mileage in years past, a decade ago. And then, yeah, just in the lead up to the games, I was making sure to follow all of the second sessions with all the running in it. And, man, it paid off. I mean, I didn't expect to win it. I thought this would be a good event for me to get like a top 10, but it just played out really well. I felt great. And yeah, I mean, it surprised me more than it surprised you.
What pace were you holding? What pace were you holding? Do you know?
I think it ended up being like a 6:48, something like that.
Man,
So
smoking.
yeah.
My first mile was a 6:48.
Started there. Yeah, exactly. The first, maybe mile.
Yeah.
Sure is.
As that we all went out, really hot. But yeah, it was after kind of that turnaround halfway point there. That's kind of where things kind of settled in. You kind of found, your place, and then you just had to hold on and do your best to finish the race strong.
Yeah, I met you the day before, Justin. I met you and I was like, oh, you were talking about events. We had just met, and you were like, and I was like, oh, you're a good runner. I could tell. And you were like, yeah, I'm pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I was like, yeah, well, I'm not gonna do well in that, and I didn't. So, nah, it's great, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that was my high of the whole competition. Well, that was it. Event one, and then
man, winning an
it
event,
was just
that's
holding
great.
on. Yeah.
How cool to start the event, to start the whole competition, top of the leaderboard, first year at the games. I mean, I cannot imagine what that's like. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
It was a moment for sure.
So leading up to the games, I want to go backwards further in like the chase for the games. I'm curious from each of you, like when did your first kind of moment take place when you're like, you know what? The games is on my list. Like that's a thing. And now you're in pursuit. How long ago did you have that moment where like it's on the bucket list and you felt like it was a realistic, thing you could attain?
I've said it's always an attainable thing as far as like coming in when you start. I made it on a team in 2014 and then I was turning 35. So I said, okay, I want to go as a master every year. Every year I was coming up very short, just short of, so from 35 to 39, just always, they took 10 one year and I came in like 11th, and they took 20 and I came in 26th. So it was always like, that was the goal every year, and every year do a few of off season things. This is actually the first year where I am not doing any off season competitions.
Because you're focused solely on the games?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think my body needed like a little bit of a rest, I think, because I've been doing so much every year. And I think I can feel myself kind of like, battling like little injuries and stuff like that. So it's like I needed like a little bit of a rest. It's also why like in Boulder, I'm doing the compete track instead of like, I look every day at the elite track and I'm like, ooh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to do that. But it's like right now, I don't need to do that. Like I'm not preparing for a competition. So there's no need to go crazy because I'm not, if I was going to Legends or I was going to Wadapalooza, then yeah, of course, I'd be putting in that time. But right now, it's like, that's not the time to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Aaron, what about you?
Let's see. I'm on my eighth open or ninth open. When I was 34, I told my brother, I'm like, I'm gonna go to the games. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make it. And I was really close 2 years ago, 4 places out 2 years ago, and then made it this year. I've always trained like I was gonna go to the games. That's why I became friends with Jamie Free and all those guys, because I'm like, hey, they're like way better than I am. I need to be chasing those guys to get to the games. And I made the sacrifices back then. I mean, I wasn't doing 2 sessions a day or anything like that, but I was prioritizing strength, all the conditioning work, working on all the weaknesses, emphasizing my strengths. And then at Boulder, really, not like a little add to it, but that little edge I got from the conditioning of Boulder is what got me the games this year. That was the biggest difference, just the different conditioning workouts we did. Because I was close.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been kind of close. There's something missing,
Leading
Yeah.
up
I
to the
mean,
leading up to the games, Aaron, were you doing the second session like during the week?
I was doing, yes, the Boulder second session. I was doing the Zone 2 bikes primarily, or I was doing some kind of running program. So yeah,
how many days a week?
the only day off I was taking was Sundays. So I was doing
Jeez.
something every day. Yeah. And
No,
like
I mean, second session. How many days a week were you doing 2-a-days?
4. That's why like I didn't get to showcase all the work I put in. That's what was the most frustrating part of this. The injuries, whatever, but
Yeah.
I didn't get to see if all that was going to transfer to the games, because I mean, it's the best I felt going into the games and the fittest by far. I just didn't get to see if that experiment worked or not,
Mm-hmm.
And look, the Zone 2s, like you can do those all the time. They're not going to kill you. I was in the Zone 2 Echo a couple days a week, a run, the bike erg. Yeah, those things are, you put a podcast on and just go.
Yeah. I
Keep being
can
so
totally relate to
being
that.
sore too as well. Sorry to cut you off, but
No, I'm just trying to put myself in your shoes, like doing all of that and
Yeah.
then not being able to see if it paid off. That is really freaking hard. That's
Yeah.
really hard. That would be difficult for me, as I'm sure it's very difficult for you and anybody, but man alive, because it's so much investment. You're
Oh
just paying it in, paying it in, paying it in, paying it in, and you're expecting like a big payoff and to not even get the opportunity.
Yeah.
That's tough, man. So, I mean, because now here we are in the off season, I'm curious where your mindset is now. Are you like, hey, right now, I just want to be healthy. That's it. Or is it like, no, I want to be healthy for the sake of getting back to training for the games? Like,
Yeah.
where's your head at?
I've got printed off. You remember when Kobe Bryant tore his Achilles in a basketball game? I've got a picture printed
Mhm.
off holding his Achilles. It's on this folder I have, and all the accomplishments I've been doing at this point, I'm writing those down in this folder. And it's just it's a reminder. He came back from Achilles injury, which is devastating at his age, and was great the next year. So the folder says games 2027. So that's the mission.
Not
Will you
that
be
anybody.
45 or 40?
I'll be 40. Let's see. I'll be 43 then.
Okay.
Justin, I want to hear more about your journey to the games and kind of when that became your folk. I know you and I have talked a lot about this, and I've really enjoyed these conversations, but I'd love for you to kind of rehash when that became a thing for you, and then what were some of the things that ultimately made this the year that you got there?
Yeah. So yeah, I started CrossFit in 2015, and I would say it wasn't like right when I started, I knew that my goal was to make it to the games. It was a very gradual process. I think as I learned a lot of the movements, became more proficient, became stronger, it became a goal that grew on me. And I would say probably like maybe in 22, I had a lot of success that year. I think it was that year when I made it into like at the semifinal stage. And to me, that was like a big deal. Like I had never made it that far. Did really well in quarterfinals, And I was like, oh my gosh, I've made it to this level. Like maybe I can get to the games. Like if I keep working really hard. Up to that point, I had never done any competitive programming. It was just my local gym's programming, whatever they were following. So to make it that far and having never done a competitive program was very encouraging. But at that point, I was like, all right, now I've got to find a way to make this happen. I jumped on Mayhem at the time and was able to get back to semifinals. I got stronger. I got more proficient in some of the high skill stuff. Yeah. And then I would say about this time, it was December of last year where you and I connected and you were like, hey, you should come over and let's get in some workouts together. And we got to talking about Boulder. And I was like, man, this sounds great. I think I'm going to jump on board and try it out. So you asked about, what are some of those last couple things this past year that kind of got me over the edge? For me, I would say it's connecting with another high level athlete that I can get pushed by, and then maybe I can push you in some areas as well. So there's some give and take there. That certainly helped. And then I think what Boulder brings to the table for me has been, very simply put, I could just say gymnastics. But I think a lot of the work that we do in our gymnastics endurance and some of those first workouts of the day, it's just building a lot of foundational strength and body awareness. And I can't tell you how much more proficient I am in a lot of those movements, muscle ups, handstand push-ups, handstand walking. And now it's just like, oh, here we go. Let's just warm up. And then boom, I'm doing 8 muscle ups in a row. Like a couple of years ago, that was a big deal for me. Now it's just, okay, it's a Tuesday. Let's go.
Yeah, well said. Totally agree with that.
I'm pretty new to those now for the last 2 months. Like me, I'm new to them, but those are really good. Even, like today we had, 2 rope climbs, some handstand push-ups. It's like, okay, no problem. That's like a minute of work, but you're doing it for 18 minutes, right? So it's getting in that volume without crushing yourself. Really good. Really good.
You can really smooth out some of your technique on that too, just getting so many touches on that stuff. Because if you video yourself like I do all the time, I see stuff all the time. I just start like making little adjustments to. But
Yeah.
a lot of these other programs, it's so randomized on what they're doing. But with Boulder, it's pretty consistent work.
And on top of
today,
that,
for example, we'll go for it, Justin.
I was just going to say on top of that, something I've been really trying to dial in more recently is also paying attention to the intended effort or output level for a given workout. So if it's one of those opening workout and it's supposed to be a yellow, I'm looking at my watch trying to make sure that my heart rate is in check and I'm in that zone. And I'm trying to tell myself, like, if I get out of that zone, then I need to dial something a little bit back, because I need to preserve myself for later in the workout when that orange workout or that red workout pops up. So I'm trying to do a better job of that.
Man, you and me
I'm
both.
struggling.
Like
I'm struggling with that one. I'm struggling.
That's a tough one. Yeah,
Looking at this
I'm
thing and
sure-
I'm like, what's going on? What is going on? Why do I have 175 rate heart rate when it's like supposed to be just like a zone 3, 4? I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, I know. Like we're so wired to push the intensity, and so there's just a whole history of experiences that condition us to go push, and then there's like our ego that also like, well, I want to place well on the leaderboard, even though some athletes are intentionally like governing their effort. But then there's this truth that I'm trying to get into, which I think is what you're pointing to, Justin, which is like, look, I can't smash my central nervous system, every single day. I need to give it some rest. And so on some of those days where it says very specifically orange being the top, don't go red, but orange at the top, or if it's yellow, traditionally I would just blow through those and go to red, and then wonder why I'm so smoked come Friday, Saturday, and can't seem to do anything right. And to be really thoughtful, knowing that Jason has programmed this in a way to preserve your central nervous system and allow you to cut it loose, at the strategic moments over the course of the program. It's so hard to stay at yellow when it's prescribed at yellow, but that perspective is at least kind of the mantra that I have to repeat to myself to say, all right, keep it, chill out and save that nervous system for something that's probably programmed a day later or 2 days later or whatever.
I kind of feel like on the yellow and some of the other programs, yellow and orange, I feel like I need to be in competition mode. So when I do go to a competition, I can execute that speed. Once I kind of like said, I did that with the previous programming I did, and I burned myself out and I didn't get fitter. So I need to scale this back and see if it works. And then we went through the open and semifinals, and I'm like, okay, what we were doing is working. But like, I'm all bought in now, but it's just hard. It's hard to pull back that much because you're like, I can go way faster or I can go way harder. And that's not always the stimulus, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah, totally right. Paul, we haven't got into your like kind of the journey. You talked a little bit about like, hey, you were just on the outside looking in. So maybe that's a bit of your chasing it. But like you and I met in 2024 at the games, and that was my first year. That was your first year as an individual master. We were, really close. I mean, we were kind of honestly, we're built similarly, and I think we were performing pretty similarly on the floor. And I think our, final position on the leaderboard was pretty dang similar as well at the end of 2024. Like now this year, obviously you're with Boulder, which I'm very stoked about as our Justin and Aaron. But like, what are some of the things you're focused on, and what were some of the things that you feel like you need to go address to accomplish what you want to accomplish next year?
I think I lost. I was working out on my own for the last couple of years, but going to the games in 2024, previously I had known a lot of those guys because every year I would go to MFC. I was at MFC in 22, and then I was at Legends for 2 years in a row, and then I was at Wadapalooza every year. So I would see a lot of the guys by taking the floor and 3, 2, 1, go, and you know where you're supposed to be. What's the speed I need to go to compete with the Bradley Alcocks and the all those guys that are top games level people that you always see. But I needed that because I'm training by myself, so I had nothing to like feed. I had no community, right? So this year at the games, super frustrating. A lot of ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. So, talking to all you guys, I was like, you know what? That's what I'm missing. Like a community of people that are actually giving you feedback. You're not comparing your times, but you're held accountable by other people almost. Like they don't really care if you do the workout that day, but you look at him, you're like, you know what? He did that. I'm gonna make sure I put in effort that day too. So I think that's what I'm missing, and that's why I joined. And yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, though, not doing any off-season competition is hard, though. Very hard. Like not doing those qualifiers and watching people do those qualifiers. I know, Aaron, is super hard.
Yeah,
knowing that I can do them. Yeah, go ahead.
The point you just made about like, hey, in your history, I've been in all those competitions and I've met these guys and I know how to compare myself against them. So for you this season, not doing them, when many of the guys that you probably would naturally compare yourselves to are doing them, that's tricky. I mean, it kind of makes you have a little bit of FOMO, but
yeah,
I still think it's the right thing for you, given your history. I think this is the right approach.
No, I definitely know it is, because it's the rate I'm going. If I were to fly out to Legends and do that and then go to Wadapalooza or vice versa, whatever, I would maybe injure myself, whatever. It's just sometimes you need to take a back seat, and I'm learning that because things are starting to hurt more, and so doing the compete track for Boulder is excellent. It's going great because I feel great every day doing 2-a-days, keeping the zone 2 work. It's hard because I try not to look at the elite, but it's good. It's great. But then when's the open? When is the open? February, March?
Yeah, February.
Yeah. Then I'll be ready to go. That's why the other day I looked at the elite when we went red, and I looked at the elite and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to do it. It's just burpees. I know. I'm going to push that a little bit. Stuff like that, like getting ready for the open. You pepper that stuff in where you're like, you know what? I'm not going to do 5 bar face burpees. I'm going to do 7 instead, or whatever. But yeah, come March, be ready to go. Quarters, semis. Semis is in person now, which is great. I think that's what we have always wanted, because some people think you don't get a fair shake on the online version, right? Like judge gives you no rep, they miscount, whatever, and then you're out, right? But then if it's on the floor, you get a no rep, you correct it right away. So I like it.
Yeah, let's talk about that. I'm curious, you guys, there's been various podcasts and discussions about this. I've not really participated in much of this discussion. Honestly, I've not done enough research to, I think, add much meaningful perspective on this, but I'm curious, your guys is just kind of like a reaction. Hey, there's going to be some semifinals in person. There's going to be a handful of different opportunities. They'll kind of be spaced out across the country. Sounds like they're going to be fairly closely aligned to the online semifinal as well. I think they're like a couple weeks before, something like that, where you could, in theory, still do both. And from what I think I understand is online, you can qualify 15 spots. And then
Yes.
I think so.
the other 15 spots, at least in our age group, 40 to 44, would come from in-person
Yeah.
qualification. So given that, if that's right, by the way, I might have butchered that, but if that's right, are you guys thinking, hey, I'm going to do this online? Are you thinking you're going to do it in person? Are you going to do both? Like, what's your take? Justin, why don't you share your thoughts? I know we've had a little bit of a discussion around this.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm really excited to hear that CrossFit is evolving and they've adopted this new plan this year. And yes, there's change every single year, but I welcome this change. I think it's great that there's different opportunity now to qualify for the games. I haven't personally quite made a decision yet, like if I want to pursue an inline or an in-person live event. I'm not the biggest travel guy out there. I mean, I'll travel for the games, of course, but yeah, I'm not quite sure yet if I want to do it in person. But yeah, I mean, it looks like there's a couple in-person events before the online semifinal, and then there's maybe 2 or 3 after. So it looks like there's a lot of options. And then Josh, you and I, we're on the West Coast. So there's a couple options over here. I think there's maybe does the NorCal Classic have Masters spots? And then there's Legends, which is going to be down in San Diego.
Del Mar.
In Del Mar.
Yeah.
So
that one's on my radar. There's all the Magic City Games I know about because of Micah, who's running it in Alabama. That will also be a qualifier. That'll be a cool one, I'm sure. And I'm sure there are others, but I don't know about them.
You got to fly. You got to fly to Australia if you want to. Australia, Colombia, Paris. Yeah. So
Quick trip. Yeah, that's not too bad.
well, Paul, what are you thinking? Are you going to travel somewhere?
I'd like to. I just listened to a podcast this morning, actually, with what's his name, Micah, who runs the Magic City Games. Yeah. So he was interviewed by Jason and Rick Stevenson. And I was listening to that, and it sounds great. Magic City Games sound excellent. Would I rather be in San Diego, California? For sure. And not Alabama, but I'm on the East Coast. So the only real viable option is going to be Magic City Games. Yeah. I would do that if I was given the invite. Absolutely. In person, first year. And you know what? However it shakes out, it shakes out. Are you going to go for top 3? Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't make it, great. But you know what? You did it in person. You gave your all that weekend, and that's it. And then you still have an option, even though it is a week later or whatever it is, to do the online portion, which is great. Now, I don't think I would travel to all the different countries. I think the only negative to a master's athlete about all this is that time, money, family, travel, all that stuff kind of weighs in because like we have busy lives, like different jobs, like day jobs, this and that. It's a little hard to, travel, and then you make the games and you have to travel again. It's a lot, but we've all made this sacrifice before. We do this all day long. I mean, why wouldn't you? If I was invited down to Alabama, yeah, let's go.
And it sounds like the invites will be based on your qualification in quarterfinals. So there's no additional, or at least for Magic City Games, that was confirmed by Micah. And then I think that was also confirmed by Joe for the Legends semifinal, which was right out of quarterfinals. You'll get your invite based on where you're at. You'll have a small window of opportunity to accept your invite.
Yeah, 48 hours. Yep.
Yeah, which is slick because thank goodness you don't have to do another qualifier to get for the
now all the workouts are going to be different though in each location. Yes or no? I don't know.
Hearing, yeah,
I believe so.
It sounds like they're gonna they are similarly inspired by the 20th anniversary of the CrossFit Games, and they're at least between Joe and Micah. I can't speak for anybody else, but I've heard they both said similar things, which was, hey, we're looking back across the history of CrossFit, regional competitions, games competitions, and like we want to pull back some of the really epic, some standout moments and like relive those with a twist. So that would be cool, nostalgic, and and I trust Joe and I trust Micah. They're going to put on a heck of a show, and That could be fun. I mean, it sounds fun. I kind of want to do it. It's a question of travel and logistics. What it comes down to.
Yeah, I thought they were going to bring back the regional style where it was, you're going to take like Southeast, Northeast, all the mid-Atlantic, different divisions, which would have been great because then you're driving to the weekend for the semifinals. I mean, in a perfect world, that would be exactly what we'd want, but it doesn't work out that way. Not now.
Yeah, there's no geofencing. So you could qualify, you could live anywhere, go to any competition and qualify. Or
Right.
at least these two. Again, I can't speak for all of them, but I heard them say that for these two, and that's nice. Aaron, you said, I'm assuming this open season is out for you. If the doctor's not telling you that, I think this group will probably tell you that. But when are you supposed to be like back to like cleared essentially to start really training again?
February, like, so
Oh, okay.
4 months. Yeah. I mean,
So
like
in
a
theory, you could do the open. Is that real?
Yeah, but I mean, it just is too risky. I mean, there's just, the issue is the where it's attached. It's strong. The problem is the muscle that's attached to it is about as strong as an infant right now. So I could easily just tear the muscle of the tricep versus the insertion. But also, just it's just not worth it for me to like stress myself into like doing that.
Yeah.
Trying. I mean, it's not worth it. So it's out of my head, so it's a good thing. So I'm not like thinking about it. I'm just gonna, I own an affiliate, so I'm just gonna put my energy into our guys doing the open and stuff. So it'd be nice not
Yeah.
having to worry about myself.
It does offload a big emotional stress.
Yeah.
I mean, as you guys all know, the open season is stressful. Like I stress out every workout,
Yeah.
because of the pressure that I put on myself, even though like, hey, I think I'm going to move past the open to the next stage. Confident that I will, but even still, because I know where my expectations are, like each time the workout gets released, I get butterflies in my stomach. And each time I go out to prep and do it, I'm super dang nervous. And that basically carries through to the end of the games season.
Well, there's a lot of bragging rights in the
So-
open too. So especially when somebody
Yeah.
does 16 more reps than you or something, you're like, all right, I'm going back.
Not anymore. Not anymore. That was back in 2011 and 12. Like you do the workout 3 or 4 times.
Oh,
No, not with the quarterfinals and all that.
Right.
Like, there's no reason to redo. No reason to redo it.
Yeah, as long as you're going to move through. So talk to me. Okay, let's shift gears now into this. So everybody's at the games now. It's post games. Aaron, you're going through a unique journey because you're just recovering and carrying that hardware around in your arm. But you have this like there's a mental and there's emotional and psychological journey that you're on right now, which is unique and different. Like Paul, Justin, and myself, we're going through a different psychological journey. I'm curious, how is the body recovering? We've touched on this a little bit, but I want to go deep on this conversation. How does the body feel? Where's your like headspace at? Do you feel like you're in a good place, and ready to progress? Are you still kind of like holding in a holding pattern in terms of your intensity before you crank it up? Like just walk me through kind of where you're at in your own off season.
Definitely a holding pattern. I would say those Wednesdays and Saturdays going red and going dark is excellent because then I know the rest of the week, like you said, I'm just gonna dial it back, heart rate stuff, and just because I do got a couple injuries going on, like that are, just nagging little things that are just they won't go away. You just want to preserve and like I might not go as heavy. Like when it says 75%, I may just be like, you know what, today I'm going 65% because I'm not feeling it. Like, and there's no need to do it because it's November, right? But you're getting fitter every day. So I make sure I do the zone 2 in the morning and you're getting fitter no matter what, but there's no reason to push. And I'm definitely in that kind of like framework, like nutrition's still good and trying to get as much sleep as possible, but you know how that goes. But it definitely is like a break, but you're still training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Justin, what about you, man?
Yeah, I would say like right after the games, I took a month away from the regular programming. I just jumped back into classes down here at my local CrossFit gym, CrossFit Big Rock, and just enjoyed fitness with friends for a few weeks. And it was great. Still, it's just kind of an hour class. You get in, get out, move on with your day. And that was very valuable for me. And then after those 4 weeks, I decided, all right, let's get back into it. I knew that I was going to be doing Legends this December. And so I jumped back into the compete track for a couple weeks, knowing that I wanted to eventually kind of get back up into that elite track and kind of be on the trajectory on that pathway to kind of ramping up for Legends. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, but definitely it's a little bit more mild than it would be, on the pathway to the games. I feel like that for me, that's more of like the Everest climb, and that's just a constant build throughout the year. And then with Legends right now, like I really want to give it a strong effort, kind of use it as a good checkpoint for where my fitness is at, but it's kind of like a more mild peaking. So yeah, overall feeling pretty good mentally. I'm in a really good place. I tweaked my back a little bit earlier in the week. And so I've kind of taken the rest of this week to rest, and the deload week for the Keystone cycle is coming up here. So it's kind of good timing for me to just get some ample rest before I kind of ramp it back up with a few weeks heading into Legends.
Yeah, right.
Justin, after Legends, will you go and do the same thing, go back to compete and then ramp back up to elite, or you just continue on?
I wrote down in my calendar that I'm going to go back into just regular classes at my gym. Just kind of go back to like just that 1 hour class, have fun with everyone, kind of get through the holidays. And then probably in January at some point, I see myself probably going back into the compete track for maybe a couple weeks, getting my body kind of used to that extra volume, and then kind of ease back up into elite. Yeah, maybe like in February, like a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks before the first open hits.
Yeah. I'll be totally honest. After the games, like I felt really fit at the games, and I had, cut a lot of things out, made a lot of sacrifices and all the things. And so then when the games is done, it's like, all right, now's my time to kind of totally recover like my mind more than my body. I don't think my body was too beat up after the games. And then like, I felt like, this is for me and this is all relative, but I felt like I fell into a total slump, and I was having a hard time digging myself out of that slump. I definitely was not performing like I felt, mostly because I was eating like crap, and I just wasn't taking care of myself and fine-tuning the details that I typically had done, and felt so good for such a long period of time leading up to the games that it had become kind of like my new neutral and new norm. And then to feel so different after the games because I just wasn't doing the things, it really messed with my head, honestly. I mean, for me. And then it was like, hey, people are doing this Fittest of the Coast qualifier. I was like, oh, okay, I'll sign up for that, I guess. Maybe that's the kick in the pants that I need. And it really humbled me. Like I didn't perform nearly like I would have hoped. And then that's a bit of a mind screw too, because you're like, oh, geez, I've lost it. It's gone. And only just now, like the last, I'd say week and a half, do I feel like I'm okay. I'm okay. Everything's fine. I'm back on track. I'm starting to progress again. Things are starting to feel, the way I would hope that they would feel. And I'm seeing the performance kind of start to tick up again. And so that was an interesting journey for me, because I hadn't quite experienced that big of a dip before, probably because I hadn't experienced that kind of a high before either. That's as fit as I'd ever been at the games. And so then, the backside of that was a bit more of a fall than I was accustomed to. But it speaks to like the mental side of an off season. It's not just linear. I don't think anybody believes that, but man, there is some hills and valleys that I was going through. Aaron, I mean, you're in one of those difficult seasons right now, given, your injury and working back from that. So the thing that I commend you most for, Aaron, is like, honestly, because we've been so close for so many years now, I think this is the most mature I've seen you handle this circumstance. Not to say that you were immature before. Sorry, that's not what I'm alluding to, but like, this is a really tough set of circumstances. And to see you like being positive, upbeat about it. Hey, these are the things that I'm still doing. You're not just throwing in the towel. Every day you're finding work that you can do to continue to improve your fitness and like maintain a good headspace. Like it's really commendable. And I think others should find inspiration in that, because, it would be very easy to go a different route given your circumstances.
Yeah. I mean, before surgery, I was doing squats before surgery. I mean, with the safety bar there, a couple days before surgery, just squats. Had the surgery. I don't know, 4 or 5 days after that, I was squatting again, lunging. I mean, it's just, I got to get back to it. Like I didn't get to accomplish the mission. I didn't get to finish it. And that's probably the main driver. Plus, I want my kids to see this. You can go from the games to nothing and go back to the games. I want them to see that, because that can translate to a lot of sports, and
Heck yeah. That's a great.
That's great. That's great, man. You could have packed it in and went to High Rocks and
Yeah, absolutely.
No, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Just come back in 2027. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
way back.
I will say one thing you said about right after the games. I think I fell in the same way in a different way because you were on this high. You placed so high and you had the fittest you've ever been. I was like hovering in that mid pack and I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm like, wow. Like, and then after the games, I needed something to kind of like, build me back up a little bit. So I jumped in the community, the CrossFit community thing, the law enforcement, the service cup that Mayhem was doing.
Yeah.
So I did that. And that was like, it was like a semifinal. So it was like over one weekend, 4 or 5 workouts, and it was great. But there's no age groups in it. So it was just law enforcement, a military. There was the group for firefighters, and then there was like teachers. So that was actually a lot of fun. That kind of got me back to like, okay, let's just have fun with this.
Yeah, that's cool.
What's that?
Where'd you finish on that one? On that one,
sixth overall.
It's really
wow.
Sixth, yeah.
And that's competing with dudes much younger than you as well.
Yeah, everybody in front of me was 20, between 20 and 25, I think.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, not too shabby.
I was going to ask a question
Cool,
about.
fellas.
Now, you guys have been doing Boulder for a long time, and in the second sessions and all that stuff. Like nutrition wise, do you guys like to do some of this fasted? Do you guys like to, eat a lot of food before? Is it all fruit? Like, kind of walk me through all that with y'all.
Yeah, Justin, why don't you start us off, man?
Yeah, I'm pretty loose right now, to be honest. There are certain times of the year where I will pick things back up and really get regimented with my diet. I've been following RP for a few years now. So if you haven't heard of that before, Renaissance periodization, that's why they call it RP, because it's so long. But yeah, it's just a kind of a macros system. So you have an app and it helps you kind of keep track of your protein, carbs, and protein for the day. But you're weighing, you're counting. It's pretty meticulous. It's something that I can't do year round, but I'm usually pretty motivated to start doing that. Like in January, when the new year comes around, the Open's coming, that's when I kind of find myself really getting motivated and dialed in with all of that. Right now, I just kind of do it by feel. I eat 4 meals a day. Breakfast and lunch are pretty much the same every single day. And I've got a good feel for like how much protein I need, how much carbs, keeping the fat and sugars to a minimum. And then dinner, like I'm trying to keep it easy for the family. Like I'm just doing like what we're having as a family. And then usually I end the night with a protein shake. So that's where I'm at.
What about you? Aside from candy, what else do you eat these days?
This week has been the 80-20 rule is in effect this week, bro. It's a lot of Halloween candy went down this week. That's all good though. But I mean, I'm 80% of the time super boring. Eggs, oatmeal in the morning, chicken and rice, protein shakes, all that stuff. So, you gotta live your life. Absolutely. I adopted a lot of that. Like Greek yogurt and stuff like that, just to get in my 225 grams of protein per day or, whatever. And then 400 grams of carbs just to kind of like, I have to teach myself to eat more to recover. It's basically, I had to learn that a few years back but I will say the zone 2 stuff, I do not eat before I do that. Cause that's usually really early in the morning and I just don't, I'll have a salt packet or I'll have like a Relight and then I'll just get right to it. Cause, I just don't want anything in my stomach for that. It's just too early. And with kids, you're not, it's hard to be perfect all the time with little kids, right? Like it's hard. You got to take them out. You got to be a dad. You got to have fun and,
And you got to stare at all the snacks that they're eating and you're like, geez, that looks good.
Yeah. And you have one or two. It's all good. It's all good. You grab a chicken nugget when you need a chicken nugget. That's all good.
Oh yeah. Totally.
Jen, what's your diet looking like these days?
Well, now I'm not training like you guys are training. I eat a lot less, but the weight's about the same. But I do eggs and grits or eggs and oatmeal first thing in the morning, coach class, a workout. I have a couple of beef jerkies, finish my training up, then I'll go home, 5 eggs, bagel, oatmeal, stuff like that. And then a little bit later on, I'll have chicken rice and then a smoothie. And then I'll have dinner, and then a shake before bed typically. So it just depends on how much I'm training too. There'll be another meal slid in there too sometimes. But it's pretty much the same stuff all the time. I mean, I'll have like, actually, it's kind of funny, during games training, I was on this huge, at night, I'd make this huge protein shake, and then I'd eat like this huge bowl of just chips, kettle cooked chips, salt and vinegar or barbecue. And I eat the whole thing like every night.
Nice.
That's something to look forward to.
I sit down.
I think each of you said you do a protein shake at night.
Was that? What did you
I think
say?
each of you guys said protein shake at night. That's maybe a hot tip.
Been doing
for our
that for
listeners.
years.
Yeah, I got to get on the bandwagon. Apparently,
Yeah, 2 years of doing that.
So actually for the last several years, I have done intermittent fasting. I'll usually eat my last snack at 7 p.m. and then I don't eat again until 11. That had been, I've done that for a long, long time.
11 the next
but just
day.
recently, yeah, 11 a.m. the next day. It's 16-hour fast, 8 hours. Yeah, and that had worked out pretty good. And when I do that really strict, I feel light and lean and yeah, pretty dang good. But I had, I knew that once we went to the games, I can't do the first 2 events fasted. That's not going to work. So I needed to like start getting used to eating something in the morning. And I still actually work out fasted each morning. I'll do my workouts between usually from like 7 to 8:30, shower up, and then I start work. But I'll be fasted, and then I'll have a big protein. I'll make a big protein shake right after that. That's new. And so that usually I'll eat it at like 8:45 to 9 o'clock, which is, I'm trying to get on board with consuming food in the morning again. I have liked it because they're tasty shakes and, it keeps me full for a while and I'm not starving until lunchtime. But then for lunch, I'll do basically a big chicken spinach salad where I got a whole bunch of chicken. I got 2 hard-boiled eggs, a big old handful of spinach, some carrots, sprinkle on these pumpkin seeds, and then a little bit of dressing. And that's my lunch every day. And I look forward to that every day. And somewhere, usually I'll sneak in like a peanut butter and honey sandwich in the afternoon. And then for dinner, we're very, very consistent as a family. It is chicken and rice and vegetables. It's, pork and rice and vegetables. It's beef and rice and vegetables. It's always some lean meat, rice and vegetables. And then I can't go to bed without having some kind of a snack. So it's either a protein bar right before bed, or I'll take like that Greek yogurt, put some protein powder in it, whip that up and put a little cereal on top or something. And that feels like a awesome treat, yet still pretty.
That's the go-to. That's the go-to. Peanut butter and honey with that fire. That's the go-to, man. That is. I don't do the protein shake at night. I've actually adopted the last few months that Thirdsy stuff that Jason's always recommending. And it tastes really good. Have you ever tasted it?
Yeah, it's like a strawberry lemonade, I think. Do they have other flavors?
Yeah. They got some caramel chocolate. I don't want to mess with it. I don't know if I'd mess with it, but the strawberry one's great. I just started like a few months ago. It's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll make a tea out of that every now and again, and just sip on that.
Hot water.
Yeah, it's it's not bad. Good stuff. Well, fellas, we're about at time. It's Friday night, late. I know for y'all Eastsiders or East Coasters. I appreciate you guys making time for this. This is totally experimental, but for me, I'm selfish. I just like seeing you guys. I'm grateful just to hang out a little bit, but I think there's a good discussion and we'll see how folks dig it.
Yeah, man.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Team, thanks for checking out the Boulder Athlete Podcast. We are so grateful that you did. Wherever you're watching or listening, please like and subscribe so we can keep bringing you more stories from this great community.